So this is going to be my film poster research. I've created a small presentation which I'm going to talk about all the different conventions which you generally see in different posters. So for starters, the conventions which you generally see across all posters no matter what genre are the title. The title is always big and bold, and sometimes, well, most of the time it's in the centre, but it can be close to the bottom or close to the top, but it's always the biggest text that's on the poster, so it's very noticeable. It'll be the first thing that you read on the poster. Another thing would be the tagline. This is normally just after the title, but it can sometimes appear at the top or before the title, whichever fits best with the poster. So it works around the image and it also works around the title, and this is normally something relating to the film. Steel Tongue's font. This is the font which you see at the bottom of a poster generally, and it has all the different people who are involved in the film, like the director of photography, the general director, the co-director, casted by, all that kind of stuff is at the bottom, and it's normally this font. The main actors' names, this generally seems to pop up on every single poster. There's normally 2 or 3 of the main actors. Their names will be on the front of the poster, advertising the people that are going to be in it. The idents, these are generally little idents in the bottom of the poster, just underneath the Steel Tongues font, and they're generally just the idents of the companies which have been involved in the making of the film. And finally, one that's seen in all posters is the release date. This can either be a month, the actual date that it's being released, or it can be coming soon. So either of those 3, and it just gives the audience an idea of when around the film is going to be released. So now I'm going to go on to deconstructing the film posters. I'm first going to do one which isn't a romance, so any genre. Then I'm going to deconstruct some romance posters, so then we can see if there are any other conventions which are within the genre, because obviously different genres would tend to have different conventions, mostly in terms of the picture which they use. So I'm going to move on to that now. So the first poster I'm going to look at is one from the film Black Swan, and this is a psychological thriller. So the first thing would be the picture. The picture has got the protagonist in the main focus, and she is the only person which is on the poster. So all your attention is on her. You know that the storyline's going to be surrounding her, and you can see that she's got cracks on her face, so that kind of shows that there's something going on with her personality or something to do with her life. Next, there is a quote from a magazine which says an extraordinary, intoxicating masterpiece. So this is just what they've pulled out of a review to make the film sound good. So if an audience member was to read that quote, it makes the film more interesting, and they'll think that it's something to watch. Another thing which is on this poster is 3 actors, Mila Kunis, Vincent Castle and Natalie Portman. These will be the 3 main characters which the plot generally revolves around. So there's the actors' names on there. You have the title Black Swan, and this is the biggest and boldest font on the poster, and it's at the bottom, and this is in black, so you can see contrasts on the skin because it looks very white and black on the poster, so it's quite monochrome and it's quite washed. So yep, you've then got the Steel Tongues font, which is probably the smallest font, which is on one of the smallest fonts anyway, and that is in gold, and it's not the clearest part of the poster, but if you were to see it enlarged then you probably will be able to read it. There is also the idents at the bottom. There are quite a few idents on either side of the Steel Tongues font. There is also a website for the Black Swan movie, which is in the centre. And finally, there is a line at the bottom which says other films which have been directed by the same person. So if people have watched those other films and enjoyed them, then they'll generally think that the film Black Swan will be just as good as the other films. So it's just a way of advertising the film through the director. The next film, which is the first romance which I'm going to deconstruct the poster of, is Australia. So firstly, if we look at the picture, there is the protagonist and the love interest, and this shows them two getting close, like they're in a relationship. So this shows instantly that it's going to be a romance, as you can see that there's two people and they're both loving one another and caressing one another in the picture. So we get the idea that them two are going to get together at some part in the film. There is the title, which is again the biggest font on the page. It is also the same font as the actors' names, which is Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman, and these are also quite bold fonts. So the main focus of this poster, being the font, would be the title and the actors' names. There's also the steel tongues at the bottom, which has got the directed by and all that kind of stuff. There is also another picture in the foreground, and it is the same two actors again, but it gives you more of an idea of what's going to happen in the film. As you can see, planes in the background, a man or woman in the background, some little huts like a village, a man with a spear on the left. So it gives you an idea of whereabouts the film is going to be set and what other characters are going to be in it. And again, there is a website at the bottom for the film and the ident at the side of the steel tongues. So the positioning of the steel tongues and the idents and website generally stick to the bottom, and the idents at either side of the steel tongues, and the website is at the very bottom. Another poster, which is a romance which I'm going to deconstruct, is Safe Haven. This has at the top, like in the Black Swan, shows you who, same people who wrote The Notebook and directed Dear John. So this shows that if you enjoyed either The Notebook or Dear John, that you may enjoy Safe Haven. There's again a picture of a man and a woman, the protagonist and the love interest, who are both getting close, and they're quite clearly in a relationship as they're both holding on to each other, and it looks like they're about to kiss one another. So that gives you an idea of them two getting together, and that the film revolves around their love and them two being together. There is also both of the actors' names which are on the poster. So it generally seems to be the people that are on the poster have their names on there as well, apart from Black Swan, which had two other actors' names, but it also had the person on the poster's name. You have the title, which is the biggest font, and it's quite clear on the poster. It's bold, it's quite large letters, block capitals, so they have the title, which is closer to the bottom. They also have the tagline, which is just underneath the title. You know it when you find it, which gives you the idea that it's definitely about love, because it could be related to you know love when you find it. So that's hinting again at the storyline. You have the steel tongues again, with all the directed by actors and all that kind of stuff. And also this one has a release date, which is the first one of the few that I've looked at, which says that it comes out in February. And it also has the ident to the left of the steel tongues, like the other ones. The final poster which I'm going to deconstruct is the Titanic poster. At the top is where the tagline is on this one, which is different to the rest, and it says nothing on earth could come between them. So this hints that there's going to be a relationship, and there's something trying to prevent the relationship, or someone, or an event. As most people have probably watched the Titanic, the sinking ship may get in between them. There is also a very similar picture to the other romances where there's the two main characters both caressing one another and getting close to one another, which shows that they are going to be the love interests. There is both of their names, the actors, on the poster just above the title. On this one, which hasn't shown up on the other one, it says a James Cameron film. So this is bragging about the director. So if people enjoy James Cameron films, then they're going to enjoy the Titanic. The font on this again for the title is very bold, and it's the most apparent thing on the poster in terms of titles, and it is like materials what build the ship, so it kind of relates to the film as well, the way they've changed the colours. There's the Steel Tongues font again, doing all the actors and directed by and so on and so forth. There is also the idents in the bottom left corner, which is exactly the same on all of them. So, all in all of the romance films have similar pictures of two people, the protagonist and the love interest, getting close. They all have a bold title, which generally on all of these is at the bottom, but on other posters they are in the middle or at the top. It just depends on the composition of the poster. They all have the steel tongues at the bottom, regardless, and they all have the idents either side. This one is the only one out of the ones that I've deconstructed which has the release date. But there are other posters which I've seen which either have coming soon or an exact date rather than a month. Two of the posters have quotes where it says that they've been directed by the same people that have created another film. You also have websites at the bottom of these ones which probably give you more details about the film, but it's not very big on the poster, so it's probably not that noticeable. And every single one has the actors' names, generally by the title, but that's not always the case. And this one has the quote.